Cast Their Crowns, Inc. We here once again. It's going to sound like National Geographic in the background. Y'all just going to have to bear with that. Nevertheless, Cast Their Crowns, Inc., where we advocate for families. We like to bring about the right energy and the proper attention, the positivity in the community, and for those to really realize that are in need or that are searching for or that are looking how to feel better about themselves, that you look in the right place. Because if it's one thing that's for sure, is that there's a lot of bad information out here. A lot of bad information, a lot of negative influences, just a bunch of misguiding intentionally. And something that I point out a lot is exploitation. And when it comes down to a family, before you get to the point of actually having a family, you need to think about what do you do prior to that. And that's the relationship part, right? And relationships is everybody's favorite subject. Everybody has an opinion on it. Everybody feels they have some insight. Everybody feels they know what to do and how to do it or who to blame. And right, we've all heard it before. But I'll let you know for sure that anybody who's starting you off with who to blame, what to look out for, as far as somebody doing something wrong and why you're never going to achieve this because of their past experiences, that's a person you need to swipe their advice to the side, because it's not really advice, right? What you need to think about is what is it that you want from a relationship and how are you going to sustain that? In the relationship, starting off when people are single, most of us have our foot in the ground because being single today is not really being single. Meaning when you're single nowadays, which has been for some time, it's not just recently, but when you're single nowadays, it's about having the luxuries and the benefits of a relationship without the responsibility of one. So you could be active with a person, you can do whatever it is you like, whatever it is they like, but the minute responsibilities come about, now it's whoa, back up. That's not what we're doing here. So that really offsets and sets off track what being single is. So if you're truly not single, but then you're looking to start a relationship, what type of success are you going to have? You're probably already in one. You're probably already in several. And now you're looking to start a relationship that you're going to commit to, but you're already involved in these other things that's really not bringing about any form of positive income. It's just whatever you want to get out of it or out of that person or out of those people. That's what it is that you're involved in. So now when you get involved in a relationship, you don't have any patience. You don't have the skill set on how to make that work. You haven't built up yourself to the point to say, I'm ready to take on these responsibilities. That's one thing that we really need to consider, right? The people who give relationship advice, whether it's online, whether it's on TV shows, I'm going to say that over 95% of these individuals, they have an agenda, and their agenda is to destroy your life, whether it be romantically or your family life, to completely destroy it. And you look down on your own, yet you idolize them. You look up on what it is that they have. So you look up upon them and look down upon yourself. They give some of the worst advice. And there is no gender slant to it. It doesn't matter if it's men. It doesn't matter if it's women. The words that's being just thrown out here, the terminologies, the buzzwords, the catchphrases on both sides is just sheer idiocy. A relationship between a man and a woman, that's of God's order. What attracts a man and a woman to each other, generally speaking, in application, is the feminine energy that woman possesses given to her by God, and the masculine energy of that man given to him by God. It's already within him. A boy transitions to become a man, and a girl transitions to become a woman, and their energy grows, right? They start to have feelings towards the opposite sex, and they start to have desires eventually, and the structure around them, which is supposed to be a family structure, the structure around them is supposed to guide them, and God has the information out there for them to learn how to become a man, and for her to learn how to become a woman. This is not something that a man can't provide a space. Once you hear that providing a space, that's trash. A man can't provide a space for a woman to be feminine, because a man doesn't have anything to do with femininity. And we're talking in these parameters, okay? A man has absolutely nothing to do with that. A woman can't teach a man how to be a man. It's impossible, okay? So in the sense of having the relationship, if a woman did not possess the feminine energy, and this man had to make a space for her to become feminine, then what is it that's attracting this man to that woman? There has to be something there, right? So that's what she brings to the occasion, and that's what he will also bring to the occasion. I mean, it's scientific. We know that opposites attract, right? The masculine and the feminine. So that's the reason for the attraction. So in these particular relationships of a man and a woman, that's the energy that's there, okay? If a man is looking for a woman who he wants to rest his name upon this woman, and this woman wants to forsake, or not really forsake, but if she wants to move on from her household, meaning her parents, which bear her father's name, and she wants to attach and align herself with this man and take on his name and bring forth children, this is something that the two of them do, which is honorable, right? This is a major step. This isn't something that you just do and throw it away in 3 weeks. This is a major step, and it's something that lasts for the rest of your life. So you have to be ready to do that. This is what God's intentions are, because you take on a name. Names are not to be passed around like a flyer, right? Names aren't sent around like mass text messages. Names are actually what you identify with. There's a legacy to that. There's a heritage to that. There's a promise to that. So once this man and this woman think about each other, and they think about each other in a way that they don't think about someone else, and they think about each other in a manner that they want to have a relationship with this other individual for the rest of their life, what are some things that they're going to need? First and foremost, what you're going to need is something that is not biased to you or the other. And the exploitation of the world today, that's how you should realize you're getting bad information, is everything given today is gender bias. Everything given today is gender bias. Now that's nonsense. Because when you become one, where's the gender in that? So are there duties of each particular partner in the relationship, of the man and of the woman? Of course there are. But those particular duties are not overshadowed or overwatched by gender expectations that the world sets up, because the world changes daily. 10 years ago, what might have been acceptable, and I'm talking on a societal level, what might have been acceptable then may not be acceptable now. What might have been promoted 20 years ago may not be promoted now. But what is promoted now, if it is unsuccessful, what's the purpose of the promotion of it? It's clearly not to bring about success. So are you going to find people who are more successful with what they did by today's standards and expectations? Or are you going to find people who are more successful at what it is that they did by expectations that was set up by God. You think about that. Now, there's always going to be horror stories. People are going to tell you something of which they want in hopes that the outcome of what they tell you satisfies them. So again, you need to watch that bit of advice. Why is this person telling me the things of what it is that they're telling me? And is this actually going to help me? So when you think about something that's going to govern both that man and that woman, that's beyond he or she, right? Or him or her, that's going to be what God said. Because God is not picking a side over whether it's him or it's her. What God said is true. What God said is right. And by what he said, that's how you would govern your relationship. And hopefully both parties in the relationship agree to that from the very beginning. And then they yield to that when that's exercised. Right? So that's how you're going to try your best to put yourself in a position where you now have a guidance and an outline and a framework to your actual relationship, as opposed to what your aunt said, who's not worth a damn, or what your friend said, who don't know anything, or what somebody who's involved in all sorts of things that they just devalue themselves. What could they tell you? What prosperous bit of advice could they give you if what they're about is about the destruction of souls? They're not about helping anybody. They're not about aligning themselves with anything. They're not about attaching themselves to anything. Whatever it is that they look to get involved in, it's look to extract from other people's lives. Whatever it is that's valuable in someone else's life, they want to take that away from them. They're not adding to it. They're not building upon anything. They're not enhancing anyone, and they're not educating anyone. So the way that you're going to get the information that's going to help you in your relationship is by yielding to the authority of God and then facilitating the roles that he's already designed for success. If you're foolish enough to think that it doesn't bring about success, well, then the question would be, well, how did you get here? How did you get on the planet Earth if God didn't know what he meant and what he was saying and what works? How did you get here? Right? Clearly, the order of which he set up in the very beginning has been working mighty fine. Because everywhere you go and everywhere you walk, you know what you don't see? Nobody. You're always going to see somebody. Because there's people everywhere. And people come from people. And people have names. And they come from families that bear those names. So God knows what he's doing, and he knows what he said. But way too many people now are against that, and they don't like that. And unfortunately, these are the people who's holding center stage today. These are the people who's giving advice, who they want to blame men, they want to blame women, but they never really want to identify the real enemy that is opposed, that is in opposition to the prosperity of a family. That nurturing, beautiful, lovely relationship that can shake the whole world up. A love story, right? So if you're interested in love and you're interested in building love and maintaining a healthy, wealthy relationship that's rooted in the fundamentals that your foreparents had, and that's rooted in the nourishment that's out there to guide you and provide for you, and you follow along and you apply those lessons, you apply that information, and you conquer fear with that, you grow in the sense of stability, confidence, right? Nourishment, being nurturing, being romantic, being caring for one another. If that's what it is you're interested in, this stuff that's out here today, you're going to stay as far away from it as possible. So that's some information right there. Cast Their Crowns Inc. We got a lot more in store. Everybody, y'all be good.